Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at a battle in the Warspite. Of course, British battleships have been released as of today. Now, I have not had a chance to go ahead and even open up the game yet today and take a look at what's going on in there. Obviously, you know, keeping up with the updates on from Wargaming and other sources and whatnot as to what they look like and how they act and stuff. But haven't had a chance to get in there myself as of yet. Wanted to get the video out or get a video out before moving, because I am moving on Friday, which is 2 days away. Haven't started anything as of yet. True Thotgor fashion. So I need to pull my shit together and get stuff done. And before I started any of that, I decided, let's put out this replay here in the Warspite. You can see we are divisioned up with Rommel here as well. And we are on Neighbors. Now, Neighbors is a fairly classic map at this point in time. I remember way back when this was a new map and it was all wonky. It was like, oh, why are the caps on the diagonal? This is screwy. But it has become a favorite map of mine. And it's, I find, fairly straightforward. Now, when I spawn on this, well, really it doesn't matter where you spawn, but it just depends on where the team is going to go, right? Now, generally when you do spawn over here on the northwest side of the map, I suppose, going for the most northern point of C does definitely make sense, and generally I do enjoy doing that, going for C and then sort of pushing down to the south into B. That's the general strategy I try to employ here when I spawn on this side. Now, when you spawn on the other side, and if the allies do go north, then yes, I'm going to come up here to this point. Same strategy, take the point, push south. And if, you know, the allies go the other direction, well, then you're on a different strategy, and you'll have to deal with it when you are faced with that situation. But anyway, majority of my team does look like, yeah, they are going to come up here to the north. Now, a little scary because all of us are going here to the north, and so that generally doesn't turn out too great. You know, when you're in the battle and you start a game and you're looking around and you see that, oh, hey, everyone's going in this one direction. You could go in that one direction. You need to take a look to see, well, what ships are headed over there, you know, what are they, how many of them are there, and that sort of stuff. But you do want to, especially if you're in a cruiser or a destroyer, you know, say, oh, hey, you know, maybe I'll hang out in the rear of the push and do something else. Like, for example, in this case, maybe hang out in the rear of the push and put some sort of pressure on B if you can, especially, again, if you're a cruiser and a destroyer. Battleships can definitely strafe along their way. In my situation, you know, probably biased. You people are free to disagree. You know, where I'm in the Warspite and it goes like 24 knots, I'm not looking to change courses. I'm on my way to A, that's where I'm going, and I'm not going to stop. It's just, I'm going to slowly trudge my way to there. Now, if I was, for example, in the turrets ahead of me, yeah, I'm a lot more flexible. I can move around, you know, in between A and B, and, you know, that would be pretty great. Now, we're getting closer into the, oh god, what cap zone is it? Think Thotgor, think it is C. To the C cap zone. You can see that we do have one brave ally who's in there at B who just died. But was brave for a moment. Brave or stupid, I'm going to say brave. In going in there and putting some pressure on B. Now we do still have some allies in and around B, so hopefully they'll be able to keep up the pressure there while we continue our charge over here to C. Now, I really do enjoy the Warspite, and I am very much looking forward to the British battleships. I cannot wait to get packed, do my, you know, do enough stuff today that I feel that although I've been productive enough that I can reward myself with some ships, and to get in there and take a look. Now, I did complete the British battleship missions while those were taking place, so my understanding is that I'm going to have a tier 5 in port waiting for me to start off with, and I can't wait. I really am not a fan of early tiers. Just not a fan. At tier 5, I start enjoying it a little more. Ships become a little more modern, a little more of what a modern by like early 30s standards, I suppose. But it become a little more of what I'm expecting from a ship, and I start enjoying the playstyle a little more. I do have my ships at tier 4, but it's not something I do very often. Finally, we are getting into the sea cap zone. Just about to get in here now. We do see an enemy destroyer, and obviously again I'm grouped up with Rommel, so I'm aware that I'm sort of leading the charge in here into C, and I was telling Rommel about the enemy destroyer. Now, I wasn't too concerned about the enemy destroyer because my ship is slow enough and has a good enough turn that I should be able to turn and avoid torpedoes. My concern is, now there's two destroyers, right? There's this destroyer that I see, but then there's the second destroyer that I don't see. Now that first destroyer is gone, fantastic, good. Hopefully the player didn't launch any torpedoes off at me before the player died. We still do have one enemy destroyer in the smoke here, but again, back to the situation where I'm not too concerned because I'm on pretty, high health. Here comes some torpedoes. We turn. We're going to eat one of them, but that's two spreads of torpedoes. So this player has now exhausted their torpedoes. So this is good, and I survived. Bit of flooding. 5 seconds, 4, and then I'll be able to repair. So, no big deal. I've got this. Just need to push around this island here. Hopefully the smoke will dissipate soon enough. Maybe get some shots into the shores here off in the distance and kill the enemy destroyer. We have an allied cruiser pushing forward with me here as well, which is good. My shots go into the shores. Didn't lead them enough, though, and they just do a bit of damage. Luckily, one of my allies takes the player down right away. We can see my secondary batteries are now engaging the enemy destroyer that has popped up. Now the allied cruiser that comes in there, poor cruiser. He does take all those torpedoes, but in the process of taking all those torpedoes also saves me, right? Because now I don't have to worry about those incoming enemy torpedoes. The enemy Mahan moves away, and unfortunately I do not get the chance to finish that player off, but the player's on really low health, so maybe. Now we see some more targets here of opportunity off in the distance. I love doing this. I love just looking around for players who are giving me a broadside and getting shots into them and doing just massive amounts of damage in hopes that maybe I get a few citadels and take the players down, right? Because again, we always do want to do, if we can and if we're able to do citadel damage, because that's the best kind of damage. You can't repair that damage back. It's gone. It is just gone, and there's not going to be a whole lot that you're going to be able to do about it. So you really do want to try and get those citadel shots in if you can. Now in a battleship, it kind of goes without saying because you're going to be firing armor piercing the whole time. Although, with the new British cruisers, I will be interested in seeing these HE shells that do more damage. That should be interesting. Anyway, we have now begun our push to the south. It has taken a bit of time, hasn't it? We are taking our sweet old time here, I guess, pushing into the south. I was very concerned, so was Rommel, because he and I had been playing, a bunch of battles, and the battles had not been going very well at all. For whatever reason, every time, he's in his York, I'll usually jump into my shores. We just get obliterated every time. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, we were pretty concerned, pretty convinced that this is just going to be another losing battle, but I was, pretty adamant about pushing to the south. Now, even on the Warspite, you can see the higher value of healing that you're able to get with the British battleships, which is always great. At least I think it's on the Warspite. I'm going to assume, and obviously let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, probably. I'm pretty sure I also have the flag on that increases it as well, right? Full disclosure. But it'll be interesting to see that ability go to use on the British battleships. I believe the Nelson is also privy to that skill or that special ability, I guess. Anyway, we have another enemy destroyer here off in front of us, and it seems as though I'm always fighting enemy destroyers. Now, the Cyclone has moved in, or it is about to move in anyway, and so our viewing distance has been reduced, and now we are going to be knife fighting for the rest of the game, more or less. I really do enjoy these Cyclones. Now, it's sort of a mixed bag if I were to put it into percentages, but most of the time I really enjoy them. Sometimes they are annoying as all hell. To be fair, though, every time that they are annoying as all hell and I want them to go away, it is because it's to my disadvantage and my team is losing or my team is scattered, and for the team to suddenly lose the ability to see one another and the enemy would be catastrophic. That's generally why I don't enjoy the Cyclone ability. Most times I do enjoy it. For example, in this instance, right, we just took out the enemy destroyer, and why I enjoy it in this instance is that I'm going to have the opportunity of taking on one, maybe two enemy ships at a time, right? There's only a few enemy ships remaining, I know this, but I still wanted to make sure that I'm going to survive. Now, the Warspite's a great battleship, great premium battleship. I got this during the Santa Claus crates, I believe, something like that. Anyway, I got it during that, and I love this ship. It is a great, great Tier 6 battleship. Now, you have to be maybe a little more skilled to play her, and it's because of the turret rotation speed. You know, most times you're only going to be able to fire 2 turrets at a time. You're not going to get full broadsides unless you've planned ahead, which is another big thing you have to do on the ship, is plan ahead. It's very, very important. Anyway, you can see that I do have some luck here with this enemy Bayern. The enemy Bayern is almost dead. Maybe if I can get another salvo into her, I can take her down. And you'll notice as well, I believe that there's another enemy ship nearby somewhere. We might have seen her. But we do manage to take down the enemy Bayern, and now we are finally in B, capping it out. The trudging, and you know, the trudging along in these slow battleships is one of the reasons why I never did go back through the American battleship line. I just can't. Oh, just can't do it. Although I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about it, I'm not going to lie. But up until Tier 8, it's a grind until Tier 8. And then you start getting some better results. I know the New Mexico is pretty decent and definitely is comparable here to the Warspite, so that's a bonus. I'm not a big fan of the Wyoming or the New York, however. But anyway. Enemy ship ahead, so we are going to put some shots into the player, and we do a bit of damage from the bow, which is not too bad at all. Always a little surprising when you do the bow damage to another enemy battleship. I guess it depends on the enemy battleship, and at this tier, meh, what do you expect? But anyway, we're going to start engaging the player with our secondaries. The Warspite at Tier 6 does have some decent secondaries. These things are pretty great. They do definitely set a lot of fires, which is always fantastic and always something that I do look forward to doing. So we have the enemy Nagato turning broadside to us. Not a great move on the Nagato's behalf because, yeah, the Nagato, much like us, right? We see those incoming shots that we just took. We don't have much armor on the side, especially at these ranges. It's all about who can fire first, and luckily I am the one who's able to fire first, and we do take down the enemy Nagato. We have 2 enemy ships remaining. We see some fire being exchanged there off in the distance, so obviously we know there is an enemy ship over there. We're trying to survive, right? Because there are 4 allied ships remaining versus the enemy 2. Now, you don't want to take too many chances. We see Rommel is still out there actively going along. I'm still actively going along. I don't have any more repair, though, and I'm definitely not on full health, so we definitely do have some issues. Now, we're bringing up the team list. I wanted to take a look to see what we are facing off against. Obviously, I know it's an enemy aircraft carrier, and that's probably my biggest concern right now, is that enemy aircraft carrier, because I can see the planes on the minimap harassing one of my allies, probably going to take the ally down shortly, and that is not something I'm looking forward to. Now, we do have an enemy battleship remaining, North Carolina versus my Warspite and Rommel's Bayern. So yeah, not going to go so great. Wasn't too thrilled about the fight ahead of us here. I do put some shots into the enemy North Carolina. They're from the bow. No surprise there. North Carolina just shrugs it off. This is what the North Carolina does. Now, we do see the enemy aircraft carrier come up there as well, and I thought about changing and shifting to the enemy aircraft carrier, but I was like, no, North Carolina is giving me a broadside here, right? I'm almost reloaded. If I can just sink a full salvo into this North Carolina, maybe I can do some citadel citadels, do some damage, and get the player gone. That was my hope. So shots go in, do a bunch of damage, no citadels, but still, get myself a nice Confederate here as well. North Carolina is focused on Rommel, so I do get a bit of a reprieve in that sense. However, it does mean that Rommel is going to go down first, meaning that I am going to lose the support that I have. Now, we see a lot of enemy planes in the air as well, because the enemy aircraft carrier is not going to go down without a fight. We see some torpedoes come in. Those were from the enemy aircraft carrier. Rommel goes down. Very unfortunate. Suddenly, one of my other allies comes into range here as well. Now, I'm taking a bunch of damage. I managed to take down the enemy aircraft carrier. I am on fire. I'm not going to be able to repair it. What is this? My engine is gone as well, so not looking good. Not looking good at all. We have some planes overhead. We have the enemy aircraft carrier in front of us, and we're trying as hard as we can to put some shots into the player, get the player gone before I die. No, not going to happen. We have some dive bombers that come in and finish me off. I thought it was all over. We do still have some allies around, right? We have our allied aircraft carrier there we saw, but we also have this allied York. I was very, very concerned that this allied York was going to ruin it for us all. Just taking some glory shots here of the old Enterprise. The Enterprise was added while I was on break, I guess, and it looks pretty great. I'm pretty thrilled to see the Enterprise in game. I was always looking forward to seeing the Enterprise in game. Such a historic ship. Why isn't she in game was always what I said, but there she is. Good. Now, we have some enemy torpedo bombers coming in on the Allied York. I was very concerned, once again, thinking if this player just drives in a straight line, it is all going to go down. No, in fact, there's only one torpedo bomber, so luckily driving the straight line was what we were supposed to do in that situation. York survives and is now putting fire into the enemy aircraft carrier. The York is going to turn, obviously avoiding some planes, but more importantly as well, firing off the player's torpedoes. The York is no slouch at Tier 7. This is a pretty good little cruiser, a little heavy cruiser. She can definitely do what you would want a cruiser to do. She has good range. She has great armor piercing. Pretty good high explosive shells. She has good defensive armament in terms of those torpedoes, right? They only go 6 kilometers, but you're able to launch 6 from either side. So that's not too shabby at all. If you can get in close like that, you definitely do have the option there. She has decent AA as well, I understand. Keeping in mind, I mean, I've never actually owned the York in its current condition. Way back when I was doing the York was, way back when the York first came out. It was a different ship back then. We do see the enemy aircraft carrier is almost dead, so hooray, we are going to win this battle, which is good. Because like I said, the string of battles that Rumble and I were playing were mostly defeats, so it was nice to see a victory in there. So victory is ours, battle is over. We just need to take a look at the results to see how we did. We know we didn't do too bad because it was about 112,000 damage, or I guess 117,000 damage, so not too shabby at all. A bunch of money, experience, got the Confederate as well, which is great. I managed top of the team overall, which is another great thing considering there were tier 8s in this game, so that's not too bad. You can see as well, most of the team did quite well, earning over 1,000 experience, except the bottom two. Maybe they were first to die, but everyone else was there, showed up and did their part, for the most part anyway. We can see how the damage dispersed there, obviously resulting in the Confederate with a lot of different damage spread around. 412,000 credits walked away with, which is not too bad at all. I'm actually saving up for the Tier 9 German battleship. I have it unlocked, I just need to purchase it, and I'm only about maybe 3 million credits away, but maybe we'll have to visit that after the move. Anyway, that is today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those, responding back to them. Remember to hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.